Good day. This is Irakli from BizNews. Ryan Passmore is a Durban-based fintech founder who has spent more than 2 decades around financial services, payments, and digital identity. He is also the founder and CEO of Appsore Limited, an authorized South African financial services provider and crypto asset service provider, and the architect of ZenFund Connect, a nonprofit student life ecosystem operated that aims to plug the gap between NSFAS, the missing middle, and South Africa's 26 public universities. He says he has spent the last 5 years working in the South African education funding space, with the past 3 building ZenFund Connect, and is associated with the Chad le Clos Foundation. He joins us this morning to talk about why he thinks the country's student funding system is broken and how he proposes to fix it. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you very much, Irakli, for having me this morning. Much appreciated, and I hope you're doing well.
Ryan, help me better understand your personal trajectory. You have the fintech background, the payment rails, the FSP license, and the crypto authorization. Why have you chosen to commit your life's work to the South African student funding crisis?
Yeah, thank you very much. A very important question to start off, and really it paints the picture around the South African student funding crisis, especially now in 2026, and how I've devoted the past few years to solving this equation. It is a problem that needs to be solved holistically, end to end. It cannot be solved just in isolation around student funding. So I've gone about solving it over the last few years, as I've mentioned, primarily isolating 3 modules: the finance module, a housing student accommodation module, and then once a student has completed their studies, it's entering into the job market, so a career module as well. So just to highlight in 2026, just some stats around where we are currently and why it is deemed a crisis. NSFAS received over 900,000 first-time applications. 700,000 were approved. Over 100,000 were rejected outright. A further 500,000 continuing students were assessed, but only 100,000 were approved. It's an easy number, but the harder number is the missing middle, and that is what I'm trying to solve with ZenFund Connect. Missing middle, who are they? It's households earning between 350,000 and 600,000 per year. That's it's total household income. That equates to roughly around 19,000 rand, but take home 15,000 rand per month in household income. They do not qualify for NSFAS and state funding, and they cannot afford the 19,000 rand a month that the University of Pretoria says it costs to put a child through an undergraduate degree. So they do not apply at all. So the total, so the students really has no place to go, and I feel that the missing middle is a blind spot for the South African educational policy.
No, those numbers are staggering. And when you look at that, is that systemic failure, or do you see a lack of capital, or do you see a failure of trust and transparency in the way that capital is moving? What is when we look at the NSFAS data you mentioned, with nearly 300,000 students currently either rejected or stuck in administrative limbo, what is causing that?
No, not at all. Quite the contrary. I believe the missing middle is South Africa's policy blind spot. NSFAS funds households below 350,000 rand a year, and above that line, you are expected to self-fund. There's no middle path at the moment. In a country where 350,000 rand a year does not buy you what it bought you a decade ago. So I think the policies just haven't caught up to inflation and various other aspects. We've ignored it because the families in this band are invisible to most degrees. They're too well off to qualify for sympathy, and too poor to qualify for relief. They are the parents, the backbone of the working class. They're nurses, teachers, civil servants, small business owners. They're the children of the working class. The children are precisely the cohort South Africa cannot afford to lose as well. I believe, it's the missing middle is South Africa's policy blind spot.
Interesting. And specifically regarding your platform, how does that tackle the pain point within the missing middle? How does your platform support their journey? When does it start in their journey? And what is your vision?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think um, for ZenFund Connect, we've got three modules, as I've said, and we plan to solve the entire uh, student ecosystem, not just as I mentioned previously, not just the funding aspect, but it's from matric. So once a student passes high school and gets their matric certificate and qualification, they then move into the studying environment. So they would apply ZenFund Connect. We would have bursaries on offer. We'd also have a component of student loans as well, and they would enter our ecosystem where we would support them end to end. It would be accredited student accommodation service providers that would cater for their housing components, and then moving on to, once they complete their degree, moving on to career placements. So organizations like companies would advertise their bursary programs and allow for students to enroll through that. So it is really a an end-to-end solution for a student, and not just catering for a bursary or um, a grant.
That's interesting. And that you have a long-standing history with Chad le Clos, famously creating the music that propelled him to gold in London. You've also been involved in this foundation that is built on water safety and saving lives. How has that shaped your view of the student in the missing middle?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a long-standing friendship now, that's evolved as Chad le Clos' career has evolved as well. We are now the chairman of his foundation, assisting with communities around water safety and inspiring the next generation, the next Chad le Clos, so to speak, to come through the ranks within South Africa. So really, I've understood and walked that journey with him, but also understood from the community impact that. The cliche saying that it takes a village to raise a student. It takes a village to raise an athlete as well. So it's really leaning into multiple facets within one's life, that you need these various facets, components, to now build up an athlete, to build up a student. Parents can't necessarily do it alone, and they require additional funding, whether it be to go to potential galas, right from early development, and it's not just, it doesn't, the doctors aren't created overnight, to where they're studying, and it's supporting right at grassroots level. So it's really understanding that entire ecosystem, that it isn't just that final exam. It's how does one prepare um, for that exam, and it's right at grassroots level, and that applies to whether you're an athlete, whether you're a doctor, whichever profession you may choose. So I think, it's really assisted me in understanding every individual, whether you're a sportsman or academic profession, so that everyone requires some level of assistance.
And we've seen that OTA reports unpaid providers, students in unaccredited, often dangerous housing. You've integrated what you call a DHET verified property into the stack. Can you explain to our listeners what that means? And in a market where 50% of providers weren't paid on time in this past March, how does ZenFund Connect guarantee that, you know, to your point, the bed actually exists and the landlord is held to a standard that is more than just symbolic for students?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I think it's twofold, or it certainly comes from two different perspectives. So as yeah, it's been reported that there is a shortage of beds for students requiring accredited student accommodation, and understanding that from the landlord's perspective, being paid on time and ensuring that their relevant costs are catered for, so that they are able to provide uh, a bed for a student. So for us, it's that transparency of the platform, registering your 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 accommodation, registering the vacancy, and having uh, complete transparency and direct payments through to the landlord, right from the funder. So from that aspect, the landlord is taken care of, but primarily the the focus is around accredited service providers. So they would sign up to a platform. If they were to post their vacancies, their property vacancies onto the platform, they would need to go through a stringent auditing process. So for us, it's going through the landlords, vetting them, vetting uh, the accommodation and the property itself, and adhering to DHET standards. So it's going through a proper auditable process that is completely transparent end to end, and has complete visibility across the board, student, funder, as well as the landlord.
And if we sit down again in the next 5 years and we look back at this conversation, what is the one specific outcome that will tell you ZenFund Connect has changed the trajectory of the South African missing middle?
I think it's honing in on an individual, uh, walking that journey with the student right from their first year at university, and then at graduation. Often the question is, and the uncertainty exists around what next. So for us, the success is measured upon uh, job placements. So for us, it's getting the corporates involved from an early stage. I spoke about grassroots, and then the investment that needs to be made right from the early outset, and it isn't necessarily uh, the money capital thing. It's focusing on the investment of the future, the graduate program. So for us, it's what does success look like in 5 years? It's walking the journey with the student right from first year to their job placement, and it's measuring the success rate of that. So coming through our platform, and on the other side is job placements and um, building your career from there. So yeah, funding alone doesn't solve unemployment. Funding plus housing plus credit building plus career placement does. That is the ecosystem that ZenFund Connect has built.
It sounds like you follow them throughout the entire journey, and the stack's purpose is to do exactly that end to end. Thank you for joining us. This is Irakli from BizNews. I hope this has been an enlightening session on Ryan Passmore's goal in solving the missing middle. Thank you.
Thank you.